In the grand tapestry of human experience, there exists a profound and universal longing for peace, for stillness in the midst of life's tempests. This innate desire for calm and serenity is not merely a human whim, but a fundamental aspect of our being, a reminder of our deepest connection to something greater than ourselves. It is in the stillness that we find the power to navigate life's challenges with grace, to confront our deepest fears, and to discover our highest potential. This concept of stillness, often perceived as a passive state, is in fact a dynamic and transformative force that can revolutionize our lives and our understanding of the world around us. The journey to embracing stillness begins with an understanding of its essence. Stillness is not merely the absence of noise or turmoil, but a state of being that encompasses peace, tranquility, and a deep sense of inner calm. It is the foundation upon which we can build our lives, making decisions from a place of clarity and wisdom rather than chaos and confusion. In a world that increasingly values action over contemplation, speed over patience, and noise over silence, the pursuit of stillness is a countercultural act, a rebellion against the norms that dictate our lives, must be constantly filled with activity and distraction. One of the most powerful biblical references to stillness can be found in Psalm 46:10, where it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." These words, penned by the psalmist, offer a profound insight into the nature of God and our relationship with the divine. To be still is not just a command to cease from physical activity, but an invitation to quiet the mind, to silence the doubts and fears that assail us, and to listen to the whisper of God's presence in our lives. It is in this stillness that we come to know God, not just as a distant deity, but as a living, breathing presence that inhabits every moment of our life. Incorporating stillness into our daily lives is not a simple task, especially in a world that seems to value busyness above all else. However, it is precisely this busyness that makes the practice of stillness so necessary. By setting aside time each day to be still, whether through meditation, prayer, or simply sitting in silence, we create space for reflection, for introspection, and for connection with our deepest selves and with God. This practice is not about achieving a specific state of feeling, but about embracing the present moment just as it is and finding peace within it. The stories of those who have practiced stillness and found transformation are countless. From the desert fathers and mothers of early Christianity who retreated into the wilderness to seek God in solitude and silence, to modern-day individuals who have found peace and healing through mindfulness and meditation, the testimonials to the power of stillness are compelling. These stories remind us that stillness is not a luxury, but a necessity, a fundamental aspect of a healthy and fulfilling life. They encourage us to embrace the journey of stillness, not as a means to an end, but as an end in itself, a journey that leads us deeper into the heart of God and into the depths of our own souls. In a world filled with noise and distraction, the call to stillness is a radical one. It challenges us to step away from the cacophony of modern life and to listen to the silence. It invites us to surrender our need for control and to trust in the wisdom and goodness of God. And it reminds us that no matter what challenges we face, we are not alone, but a part of a larger community that seeks peace, justice, and love. In embracing stillness, we are not retreating from the world, but are instead preparing ourselves to engage with it more fully, with greater compassion, wisdom, and grace. The practice of stillness also underscores the importance of patience and trust in our lives. In a culture that values instant gratification and quick fixes, the idea of waiting and trusting can seem antiquated and even irresponsible. However, it is precisely this patience and trust that allow us to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and peace. By embracing stillness, We learn to wait on God, to trust in His timing, and to have faith that He is working all things together for our good. This is not a passive waiting, but an active trusting, a choice to believe that God is good and that His plans for us are plans for our welfare, not for our woe. In conclusion, the pursuit of stillness is a journey, not a destination. It is a path that winds through the complexities of our lives, inviting us to deeper levels of peace, trust, and connection with God and with ourselves. As we embark on this journey, we are reminded that stillness is not something we achieve, but something we receive, a gift from God that transforms us from the inside out. May we embrace this gift, may we cherish the silence, and may we find in stillness the peace that surpasses all understanding, guiding us through life's challenges and leading us into the fullness of God's presence. In life, we all experience moments when we feel overwhelmed by our circumstances. Often, these moments can lead to anxiety, frustration, and despair. But amidst these challenging times, it's crucial to remember the power of trusting a higher plan, something beyond our comprehension, yet profoundly influential. Understanding that there is a divine purpose, even in our darkest hours, can be a source of immense strength and hope. When we talk about trusting in a higher plan, we must first acknowledge the profound nature of faith. Faith is not just a passive belief. It involves an active commitment to trusting in something we cannot always see or understand. It means relinquishing our need to control every outcome and instead putting our confidence in the belief that everything will ultimately work together for good. It requires us to shift our perspective, moving from one of worry and fear to one of hope and expectation. Consider the biblical figure of Joseph, an individual whose life exemplifies profound trust in God's plan. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused of a crime, and imprisoned for years. Each of these experiences could have easily led him to despair, questioning whether he was forsaken or abandoned. However, Joseph maintained his faith. He believed that even in his trials, God had a purpose for his life. Eventually, through a series of miraculous events, Joseph rose to power in Egypt, ultimately saving not only his family, but an entire nation from famine. His story demonstrates that even when we can't see the immediate outcome, trusting in God can lead us to incredible places beyond our imagination. In our contemporary lives, we often find ourselves in situations that feel bleak and without direction. The stress of daily life can weigh heavily. The loss of a job, a fractured relationship, illness, or financial struggles can lead us to question our purpose. It's easy to succumb to feelings of hopelessness, but we must remind ourselves that nothing is beyond God's reach. There's safety in the assurance that we are not alone. He walks with us through each valley, guiding us toward the light. Trusting in a higher plan also calls for an understanding of God's timing. Human beings often operate on a timeline, expecting immediate results or quick resolutions. This desire for instant gratification can make waiting a particularly challenging task, especially during tough situations. However, divine timing is a concept that contradicts our human inclination. Scripture assures us that God's timing is always perfect, even if it doesn't align with our expectations. Isaiah 55:8-9 teaches us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." This passage invites us to trust that there is wisdom in waiting, a divine orchestration that goes beyond our limited perspective. Patience is a virtue often learned in the crucible of trial. During this waiting period, one may feel restless or anxious, but it's essential to use this time wisely. Instead of dwelling on frustration, we can invest in personal growth, spiritual development, and nurturing our relationships. This is where prayer becomes vital. It is the avenue through which we communicate our fears, our hopes, and our desires to God. In prayer, we find peace, direction, and clarity, which often come not in loud proclamations, but in quiet whispers. In tandem with trusting God and waiting, Another critical aspect is the belief in transformation. Life's challenges, while painful, often serve as catalysts for growth. They provide us an opportunity to refine our character, strengthen our faith, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and our relationship with God. This process can be likened to the refining of gold. The gold must endure intense heat to burn away impurities, resulting in something pure and valuable. Similarly, our struggles can lead to personal transformation. This doesn't mean that the pain or difficulty we experience is inconsequential. Instead, it highlights that these experiences can lead to remarkable growth and resilience. If we take a moment to reflect on our own life experiences, we often find that our most challenging times have shaped us in profound ways. They have taught us lessons about resilience, compassion, and empathy. They have made us more sensitive to the struggles of others and have equipped us with wisdom and insight that we might not have obtained had we not faced those difficulties. These trials can become the very foundations of our testimonials, inspiring others who may be facing similar difficulties. Our communities, too, play an essential role in this aspect of trusting in a higher plan. Surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, friends, family, or church communities can offer strength and encouragement. When we come together with those who understand and share our faith, it fosters an environment where we can openly discuss our struggles and victories without fear of judgment. These connections can remind us that we are not alone in our challenges, providing a sense of belonging and shared purpose. However, it's important not to underestimate the power of our support. Just as we lean on others, we must also be ready to extend a hand to those in need. Acts of kindness, encouragement, and love can be lifelines for someone struggling to see God's plan for their life. In doing so, we not only uplift others, but reinforce our sense of purpose within the greater tapestry of community. As we navigate through life's storms, it's essential to remind ourselves of the truth that we're not merely subjects to uncontrollable circumstances. Instead, we are beautifully woven into God's larger narrative that involves trials, triumphs, tears, and joy. Each moment is significant, and while we may not comprehend the purpose behind our struggles, we can have confidence that they will lead us to places of greater understanding, compassion, and strength. In conclusion, trusting in God's plan during tumultuous times is a journey laden with complexity, emotion, and growth. It requires patience, faith, and an openness to transformation. When we lean into this trust, allowing ourselves to be still and reflect, we open the door for divine intervention in our lives. We should look at our trials as opportunities for connection with our faith, our community, and ultimately with our true selves. When we embrace this perspective, we find that we are better equipped to weather the storms of life, embracing both the pain and the beauty of the journey. In the end, we emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with God's purpose for us. We hold on to the promise that our difficulties are not in vain, and through trusting in God's plan, we can transform our struggles into testimonies of faithfulness and resilience, thus repeating the mantra in our hearts, the best is yet to come. In our journey through life, we often encounter situations that challenge us deeply and test our faith. When faced with adversity, it can be tempting to react impulsively or to succumb to feelings of despair. However, choosing stillness in the midst of chaos is an intentional act that can lead to profound transformation. It is in these moments of quiet reflection and trust in a higher purpose that we often find our greatest strength. Understanding stillness begins with recognizing its importance in our spiritual and emotional well-being. Stillness is not merely the absence of noise. Instead, it is a state of being where we allow ourselves to pause, reflect, and listen both to ourselves and to the divine. In a world that constantly demands our attention and pushes us to act, being still requires conscious effort. It invites us to step back from the frenzy and consider our circumstances with clarity. The Bible encourages us to embrace this stillness. In Psalm 46:10, we are reminded, "Be still and know that I am God." This verse serves as a powerful affirmation of faith during tumultuous times. When we still our hearts and minds, we create a sacred space where we can acknowledge the presence of God in our lives. This practice of stillness allows us to arrive at a deeper understanding of our struggles and fosters a sense of peace that surpasses our immediate circumstances. It is often in these quiet moments that we discover the power of trust. Trusting in a higher plan can be challenging, especially when we find ourselves grappling with unexpected setbacks or crises. However, embracing trust requires us to shift our focus from the problems we face to the faith we possess. We must recognize that God is with us, guiding us through every season of life. Just as we trust in the sun to rise each day, we can trust that God's plans for us are good, even if we cannot see the full picture. The stories of individuals in the Bible who faced adversity can serve as powerful reminders of the importance of trust. Take, for example, the story of Job, who experienced profound loss and suffering, yet remained steadfast in his faith. Despite his circumstances, Job chose to trust in God, and ultimately he was restored. His story teaches us that trust is not a passive act. It is a decision we make even in the face of uncertainty. Similarly, Joseph's journey from being sold into slavery to becoming a leader in Egypt illustrates how God can use our hardships to fulfill a greater purpose. Through these narratives, we learn that our trials are often stepping stones to our victories. Embracing change is another essential aspect of maintaining stillness during tough situations. Life is marked by constant change, and while each transition can be disorienting, it often leads us to growth and transformation. It is natural to resist change, especially when it feels uncomfortable or unwelcome. However, instead of viewing challenges as barriers, we can choose to see them as opportunities to evolve. When we accept our circumstances and remain still, we create room for God to work in our lives. Consider the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. This process requires the caterpillar to retreat into a cocoon, a state of stillness that seems restrictive but is actually a necessary phase of transformation. It is during this time of quiet that the caterpillar undergoes a profound change and emerges as something beautiful. Similarly, in our own lives, the moments of stillness during change can lead to the emergence of new possibilities and insights. Part of embracing change and trusting in God's timing is acknowledging that life does not always unfold according to our plans. We often find ourselves in seasons of waiting, which can be frustrating and overwhelming. During these periods, it is crucial to remind ourselves that our timelines may differ from those of the divine. God's timing is perfect, and though it may not align with our own, we can find peace in knowing that He is working behind the scenes on our behalf. The act of waiting requires patience, virtue that is often tested in our fast-paced world. Instead of seeing waiting as inactivity, we can reframe it as a time of preparation and growth. During these seasons, we can continue to seek God through prayer, scripture, and reflection. By engaging in these practices, we nurture our faith and strengthen our ability to remain steadfast in our hope. In addition to stillness, trust, embracing change, and recognizing God's timing, we must not overlook the significance of community and support. We are not meant to journey through life alone. God created us for relationships. When we encounter challenges, our support systems can serve as pillars of strength and encouragement. It is through our interactions with others that we often find the inspiration and motivation to persevere. A robust support network can help us see our struggles from different perspectives. Friends, family, and faith communities can provide validation, accountability, and wisdom, reminding us that we are not alone in our experiences. Sharing our burdens with others is a powerful practice that fosters connection and understanding, creating an environment of empathy and support. In moments of doubt or discouragement, having trusted individuals to lean on can make a world of difference. Moreover, being part of a community allows us to offer support to others, which in itself can be a transformative experience. Helping someone else navigate their challenges can strengthen our own faith and purpose. It reminds us of the interconnectedness of our journeys and the importance of being present for one another. Just as we seek help, we also have the opportunity to be a source of light for those around us. Ultimately, the choices we make during difficult times define our character and faith. Choosing to be still, to trust, to embrace change, to acknowledge divine timing, and to lean on our community can lead us toward a path of healing and growth. When we practice stillness and invite God into our struggles, we create a fertile ground for transformation to take place. In conclusion, when life presents us with tough situations, we have the power to respond with faith and intentionality. While the pressures of the world may encourage us to rush and react, it is often in the stillness that we find our greatest clarity and strength. Embracing stillness is an act of defiance against chaos. It is a declaration that we believe in a God who is capable of turning our toughest moments into opportunities for growth and redemption. As we endeavor to embody these principles in our lives, we can trust that God will guide us through, transforming our trials into triumphs and leading us into a future filled with hope and purpose. In discussing the concept of divine timing, we must first acknowledge that in our fast-paced society, where instant gratification often reigns supreme, the idea of waiting can be both challenging and frustrating. Yet, it is within this waiting that we can find profound depth and meaning. It is essential to understand that God's timing is not measured by our clocks, but is rooted in His infinite wisdom and understanding of our lives. The season of waiting may feel like stagnation, but it is often during these periods that we experience the most significant growth and preparation. Imagine being in a place where hope seems distant, where the answers you seek feel elusive. Many of us have been there, plagued by uncertainties and questions about the future, wrestling with the desire for immediate resolution. When we feel trapped in our circumstances, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture and forget that God is orchestrating a plan beyond our understanding. The weight can feel heavy, yet it is in these moments of stillness that we are invited to trust. Encourage those around you to consider professional help as a valid option when personal struggles become overwhelming. Seeking medical or psychological assistance is not a sign of weakness. It is a courageous step toward healing. As we encourage others to seek and receive support, we must remember to create environments that welcome such vulnerability. Building a culture of acceptance within our communities is vital. This means cultivating spaces where individuals feel safe to share their feelings and experiences without fear of stigma or judgment. Whether it's through faith-based organizations, local clubs, or informal gatherings, fostering a supportive atmosphere encourages more people to reach out and participate. Communities also evolve based on their shared experiences. People bond over common struggles and achievements. Celebrating victories together can be just as powerful as supporting one another through tough times. Establishing rituals or traditions, whether small gatherings or larger events, helps to strengthen the connections within the community. These gatherings create an opportunity for members to express gratitude, share stories, and simply enjoy each other's company, reinforcing the mutual support that is vital during tough times. The connection between community support and resilience cannot be overstated. When individuals feel supported, they are more likely to face challenges with courage and hope. A strong sense of community can instill confidence in its members, empowering them to confront difficulties with perseverance. The collective strength found within a supportive network alleviates individual burdens, fosters healing, and promotes personal growth. Furthermore, in providing support and embracing our communities, we cultivate an atmosphere of gratitude. Expressing gratitude for those who support us reinforces the bonds we share. A simple thank you can go a long way in showing appreciation and strengthening relationships. Grateful interactions promote a cycle of support, inspiring others to offer help when they are able. In conclusion, the journey through life is often fraught with challenges, but we do not have to face those challenges alone. The power of community and the strength that lies in support systems can be transformative. As we navigate our struggles, let us remember to reach out to share our burdens and to support one another. Embracing vulnerability, offering kindness, and fostering a culture of acceptance can create a resilient community capable of uplifting its members. Together we can turn our tough situations around and emerge stronger, more connected, and ready to face whatever life throws our way. We are stronger together, and in unity we find hope. In our fast-paced world, the concept of being still is often viewed as a weakness or a sign of inactivity. However, within the chaos of our daily lives, stillness can be profound. It presents a unique opportunity for reflection, renewal, and reconnection with our inner selves and our faith. The call to be still carries significant weight, particularly in times of distress. It is an invitation from God to pause, breathe, and allow His presence to permeate our lives. When faced with turmoil, it is easy to become overwhelmed by uncertainty and fear, leading us to seek immediate action or solutions rather than patiently waiting for divine guidance. Yet being still allows us to step back, observe our situation from a fresh perspective, and discern God's voice amidst the noise. In moments of adversity, trusting in a higher power can feel overwhelming. Many of us grapple with doubts and anxieties that challenge our faith. The act of being still is inherently tied to trust. As we read in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. It is through stillness that we can relinquish control and embrace faith, allowing God to work in our lives in ways we may not fully understand. This trust in God's plan doesn't necessarily eliminate our struggles, but it offers us a sense of peace amid the storm. Consider the biblical characters who faced monumental challenges and ultimately exemplified faith amidst uncertainty. Job's story serves as a powerful example. This man faced unimaginable loss, losing his family, wealth, and health. His response was not an immediate quest for answers, but rather an expression of faith amidst immense distress. In his stillness, Job cried out to God, wrestling with his suffering, yet ultimately surrendering to God's wisdom and sovereignty. His story illustrates that even in despair, our stillness allows us to engage with God, express our emotions honestly, and establish a deeper connection with our Creator. Such narratives remind us that being still is not a passive act, but rather an active engagement in trust, reflecting our reliance on God's goodness and faithfulness, even when circumstances seem dire. The idea of embracing change is often daunting. Many people fear change. It disrupts the familiar and can stir up anxiety. However, we must recognize that change is an intrinsic and often necessary aspect of life. Being still allows us to confront our fears head-on, providing the opportunity to reflect on what we truly value and how we can grow from the challenges we face. It provides us the space to assess our circumstances and adapt to any shifts that may be unfolding. In the book of Isaiah, we are encouraged to forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18, -19. Embracing the new thing that God is orchestrating often starts with a moment of silence and reflection where we can listen to His guidance and direction. Change also cultivates personal growth. pushing us to explore new possibilities that we may not have considered if we'd remained in our comfort zones. Remaining still in the face of adversity can lead us towards significant transformation, equipping us with resilience and strength we never thought possible. This transformation often occurs quietly in the background as we trust God's process and timing. Timing is a critical element in our spiritual journey. God's timing can be perplexing, often clashing with our desires for immediate solutions. When faced with trials, our instinct is to seek resolution quickly. However, the message of patience and waiting for divine timing resonates throughout Scripture. In Psalms, we are reminded, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." Psalm 37:7. Patience is cultivated in stillness. It allows us to relinquish our agendas and trust that God's timing is perfect, leading us to the right opportunities, relationships, and life changes at the right moment. Furthermore, stillness cultivates gratitude. In moments of quiet reflection, we can shift our focus from what is lacking to what we have. In the hustle and bustle of life, it is easy to overlook the blessings present in our life. Practicing gratitude not only enhances our spiritual health, but also shifts our perspectives, allowing us to see the goodness of God amidst our circumstances. A small act of thanksgiving, whether noting down things we appreciate or voicing them in prayer, can lead to a profound transformation in how we view our situations. Engaging in communal support is equally essential. As we navigate life's challenges, the role of community becomes especially vital. We were created to flourish in relationships with others. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes these challenges can feel all-consuming. Many people experience situations that test their resolve and faith, where everything seems to be going wrong and hope seems distant. However, in these moments of trial and tribulation, it is crucial to remember that even the toughest situations can lead to profound transformation. The key to navigating these difficult times lies in understanding the power of stillness and trust rather than succumbing to despair. In today's world, where distractions abound and pressures mount, taking a moment to be still can feel like a daunting task. Yet, it is precisely in these moments of quiet reflection that we can connect with our faith, draw upon our inner strength, and allow ourselves to be open to divine guidance. The Bible emphasizes this in Psalm 46:10. "Be still and know that I am God." This verse reminds us that amidst the chaos, there is a steadfast God who reigns supreme and offers us peace. Being still is not simply about physical stillness. It involves cultivating a mental and spiritual state of calmness. It provides us with the opportunity to reflect on our circumstances, to pray, and to listen for the still, small voice of God. In our moments of stillness, we are often compelled to confront our fears and anxieties, yet it is therein that we find liberation. By surrendering our worries to God, we can learn to trust His plans for our lives, even when those plans seem unclear or delayed. Life rarely unfolds as we expect, and it can be easy to feel uprooted and lost. However, we must remind ourselves that God's understanding far surpasses our own. He knows the entirety of our journey, and where we see obstacles, He may see the path to growth and development. Trusting in God during dark times can yield remarkable results. It enables us to look beyond our immediate struggles and recognize that trials can lead to growth. Consider the story of Job, who experienced immense loss and suffering but remained steadfast in his faith. Despite his trials, Job's story is one of eventual restoration and blessing, illustrating that there is purpose even in pain. Trusting that God will turn our tough situations around is a powerful act of faith that can transform our mindsets. We must be proactive in nurturing that trust through prayer, meditation, and the conscious decision to focus on gratitude even in the midst of difficulties. Moreover, It is essential to understand that change is a constant in our lives. Many of us may resist change because it brings discomfort, uncertainty, and the fear of the unknown. However, change often accompanies growth, and embracing it can lead to genuine transformation. As we navigate through challenging situations, we frequently undergo an internal metamorphosis. This change can empower us to rise above our circumstances, expand our capacity for resilience, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and our purpose. When faced with tough times, it is critical to approach situations with an open heart. We may not initially grasp the lessons that adversity presents, but ultimately, these moments refine our character and deepen our faith. Encouraging stories abound. Think of Joseph, who, despite being sold into slavery and facing many trials, eventually became a leader who saved many from famine. His journey underscores the notion that our current struggles can lead us to destiny. Another crucial aspect of navigating difficult times is recognizing that we are never alone. Building and leaning on a support system can provide us with encouragement, practical assistance, and shared wisdom. There is immense strength in community, and it's important to remember that we do not have to face our challenges in isolation. Reach out to friends, family, or members of your faith community when you find yourself overwhelmed. They can offer different perspectives, share their experiences, and help carry the burdens that may feel too heavy for you to bear alone. The act of sharing our struggles not only brings to light our needs, but also builds authentic connections with others. When we open up about our difficulties, we pave the way for deeper empathy and understanding. Remember, even Jesus sought companionship and support from his disciples during his most challenging moments. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others the opportunity to step into the role of a compassionate listener and ally. And just as we may seek support from others, we should also be willing to extend our hands to those in need around us. In providing support to others, we can find purpose and heal ourselves in the process. Every act of kindness creates a ripple effect in the world. As we help those around us, we inspire them to pay it forward. This collective support fosters community spirit and lends strength to all involved. Acts of service not only uplift those who receive kindness, but can transform the giver as well, leading to a deeper understanding of love and resilience. As we navigate our tough situations, we must keep in mind the importance of God's timing. We often desire quick resolutions to our challenges, but some of the most valuable lessons in growth come from periods of waiting. Recognizing that every situation unfolds in God's perfect timing can be a comforting perspective that ensures we do not rush our healing or forget the lessons being imparted. During these waiting periods, patience becomes an essential tool. It is tempting to take matters into our own hands when we feel like we are running out of time. However, allowing ourselves to wait on God's timing can lead to breakthroughs we never could have orchestrated alone. Just like a seed that must be buried in the ground before it can sprout, our trials often require us to go through a process before we can experience the new life waiting on the other side. During this wait, we can cultivate our faith and nurture our souls through prayer, reflection, and trust in a loving Creator who has a plan for each of us. In conclusion, let us remember that tough situations are part of the human experience, yet they are not the end of our stories. By embracing stillness, we can hear God speaking to us amidst the noise and chaos. Trusting in His plan allows us to see beyond our current struggles and recognize the seeds of potential growing within them. With the supportive community around us and the willingness to extend that support to others, we can navigate life's challenges with grace and hope. As we journey through the wilderness of adversity, let us hold fast to the knowledge that God is at work turning our tough situations around. So be still, remain hopeful, and trust that brighter days are ahead. Life often throws unexpected challenges our way, and it can be difficult to navigate through tough situations. The struggles we face can feel overwhelming, leaving us in a state of confusion and despair. However, in these trying times, it's essential to remember that God has a plan for us and can turn our situations around if we remain still and trust in His guidance. The message today is a reminder of the powerful impact of stillness and faith amid adversity. When we talk about being still, we must first understand what it means in a spiritual and practical sense. To be still does not simply refer to the absence of action. Rather, it signifies a calmness of spirit and an unwavering trust in God. In Psalm 46:10, we are reminded to be still and know that I am God. This verse serves as both an invitation and a command. It encourages us to pause from our worries and acknowledge God's sovereignty in our lives. In moments of chaos, we need to quiet our minds and hearts, allowing ourselves to be present with God. It is in this stillness that we often hear His voice more clearly, guiding us through our difficulties. In our fast-paced world, we are conditioned to react quickly to challenges. We feel the pressure to find immediate solutions, often leading to stress and anxiety. Nevertheless, embracing stillness can help us gain clarity and perspective. When faced with obstacles, we can take a step back to evaluate the situation and seek divine intervention. Being still also allows us to engage in meaningful prayer and meditation, creating space for God to work in our lives. It's essential to take time to sit in silence, reflect on our circumstances, and invite God's presence into our struggles. Trust is another critical element when navigating tough situations. Trusting in God means believing that He has a plan for us, even if we cannot see it right now. This trust requires faith, the assurance that God is in control and that He works all things together for our good. For many of us, trusting God can be challenging, especially when we feel pain and uncertainty. Our human nature often inclines us to worry and question the reasons behind our struggles. However, it's essential to remember that our understanding is limited, while God's wisdom is infinite. Looking at biblical figures such as Job and Joseph, we find powerful examples of unwavering faith. Job faced profound loss, illness, and despair, yet he remained faithful to God. Throughout his trials, he never cursed God or lost his faith, even when surrounded by friends who questioned his integrity. Job's story teaches us that even in the darkest times, faith can sustain us. Similarly, Joseph endured betrayal and hardship before rising to a position of authority in Egypt. His journey was fraught with challenges, yet he maintained trust in God's plan. Both of these examples remind us that our struggles can ultimately lead to greater purposes if we can hold on to faith. Moreover, it is vital to recognize that embracing change is part of life's process. Hardships often catalyze transformation, pushing us to reevaluate our paths, priorities, and even our faith. We might view our current situations as obstacles, but within these challenges lies the potential for growth and renewal. By framing our difficulties as opportunities, we open ourselves to the possibilities that God has in store for us. Perhaps it is during our hardships that we are called to become better versions of ourselves. As we confront our struggles, we may find that we develop resilience, compassion, and empathy. We often emerge stronger and more equipped to handle whatever life may throw our way. Change can be unsettling, but it can also pave the way for new beginnings. God often uses our toughest experiences to shape us into who we are meant to be. Of equal importance is the concept of divine timing. Life often does not unfold in the way or speed that we desire. Many of us struggle with patience, especially when we are in the midst of a trial. Waiting on God can feel like an insurmountable task, and it's easy to succumb to frustration and doubt during these periods. However, it's crucial to remember that God's timing is perfect. He knows what we need and when we need it. Sometimes we need to be patient and trust that He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances for our benefit. During times of waiting, we can focus on deepening our relationship with God through prayer, study, and reflection. We can seek His guidance, asking for wisdom and understanding. In these moments, the stillness becomes fruitful as we lean into His presence rather than rush ahead with our own plans or desires. The beautiful part about God's timing is that in hindsight, we often see how His plans unfold in ways we couldn't have imagined, turning our tough situations into testimonies of His faithfulness. Finally, we must consider the vital role of community and support.